At 2:13 p.m., the HOA cut a ribbon, cheered, and launched a gleaming 40-foot houseboat from the community ramp. "Movie nights on the water," the flyer said. I watched from my dock and smiled. 30 days later, the state mailed me a certificate with a hull number and my name on it. I didn't steal a boat. I followed the rules the HOA didn't. They anchored their community houseboat on my private lake bed, left it unattended, ignored certified letters, and learned a phrase they'd never met before: abandoned vessel procedure. By the time they realized what that yellow tag on the rail meant, the boat wasn't going back to their clubhouse. It wasn't going anywhere with them at all. It's our lake. About that. We bought our place for the little cove. Quiet, lily pads in June, bluegill that nibble like polite thieves. Our deed includes riparian rights to the center line of the Cove. Translation: I own the lake bed under the water in that wedge, plus the right to wharf out a reasonable dock. The HOA manages roads, the ramp, and the common shoreline on the other side. It does not own my underwater dirt. Enter Diane. Tan visor, clipboard, chair of lake activities. Spring meeting announcement. We acquired a houseboat for community events. The photos looked like a floating living room. Couch, projector, rooftop deck, fairy lights. Cute, heavy, full of opportunities for rules and insurance to cry. I asked one question on the community forum: where will you moor it? Diane replied, "We'll anchor in the middle where everyone can enjoy." There is no middle. There are parcels under that middle, and some of those parcels are mine. I emailed the board calmly, "Please don't anchor on my cove's lake bed without consent. Happy to discuss a license." They replied with confidence and zero research. "Water is common. We can anchor where we like." I printed the county GIS parcel map, my deeds meets and bounds, and a handy state brochure titled, "Who Owns the Lake Bed?" The answer: usually the adjacent owner does, to the center line, unless it's a state-owned lake. Ours isn't. Launch day, drift. Night launch day arrived like a parade. Folding tables, cupcakes, a Bluetooth speaker yelling summer. The boat, white, boxy, hopeful, slid down the ramp and chugged toward my cove because of course it did. They dropped 2 cheap river anchors and called it moored. At dusk, a storm sneaked in. Nothing crazy, just a pushy breeze with opinions. Both anchors skated over the hard clay bottom like ice skates. The houseboat swung into my cove, bumped the outer post of my dock, and stopped. When the wind died, it settled 8 feet off my pier, sitting squarely over my parcel. I texted the HOA. "Your boat is at my dock. Please move it tonight. Diane." "We'll get it in the morning. It's fine." It was not fine. At 10 p.m., a teenager paddled out to take a sick selfie. At 11, the anchor light blinked and died. At midnight, the hull thumped my post. Again. I did the most boring, responsible thing you can do around water. I called the state's Lake Patrol non-emergency number. "Vessel adrift, anchor light out, unattended," I said. "Anchored over private lake bed without permission." The dispatcher said, "We'll tag it in the morning." The yellow tag and the rule book at 8:06 a.m., a patrol skiff idled up. The officer squinted at the registration sticker, "Expired last year." He checked the hand plate, took photos, and zip-tied a bright yellow notice to the rail. "Abandoned, derelict, do not move without authorization," with a case number and a phone number. Diane arrived in a golf cart looking like a storm in linen. "That's our boat," she snapped at the officer. The officer was unruffled. "It's unattended, improperly anchored, and over private bottomlands without permission. It's also expired. Under state law, that's a problem." I kept it polite. "You can move it off my parcel right now to your shore with proper lights and registration, and we're good. But it can't stay here." Diane jabbed a finger at the water. "This is common." The officer pointed at my dock, then his laminated map. Bottomlands here belong to adjacent owners. Anchoring is like parking on someone's driveway. You need permission. He explained the process. The state notifies the last registered owner and any claimants. That's the HOA. If it's not lawfully removed in the window, the responsible party can be billed for retrieval and storage, or the salvor. That was. About to be me, can claim a lien and after proper notices title. This is not the ocean, Diane scoffed. There's no salvage law here. Correct, the officer said. This is our state's abandoned vessel statute. Similar idea, different book. I snapped photos of the notice, the expired registration, the anchor lines, and the boat's sulky posture. Then I did a thing the internet never celebrates. Paperwork. The face. Safest. Never coming back. You've ever seen, at lunch, the wind picked up again, and the boat bumped the dock a third time. I dropped 2 lines to keep it from causing damage. One to my outer post, one to my neighbor's piling. With the officer's blessing, I became the reluctant babysitter of a floating living room. That evening, I filed the abandoned vessel report online, uploaded my photos, and attached a short letter. Vessel is located over my recorded bottomlands without consent. HOA has been notified and declined to remove. I have secured it to prevent damage. Certified letters went out the next day to the dealership that sold it to the HOA, to the HOA's mailing address, and to the management company, explaining the violation and the cost meter that would start if it stayed. Storage at a private. Mooring, 45-day. Retrieval lines and gear, $180. Inspection time, $0 because I'm petty but fair. I gave them a free way out. Move it by 5 p.m. tomorrow to your shoreline with a proper anchor and lights and we'll call it square. No. Reply? Nevertheless, as Carla once taught me, is not just a word. It's a lifestyle. The patrol officer called. If they try to move it with the tag on, call us. That tag is a big legal stop sign. Day 3, nothing. Day 7, HOA emailed, remove your lines from our property. I replied, your property is on my lines. Please see case number. Day 12, a meeting invite. Violation hearing for tampering with HOA equipment. I laughed, RSVP'd yes, and brought the officer's card. The hearing where water beat. Volume. The hearing was a greatest hits of wishful thinking. Diane spoke first. He interfered with association property and is attempting to seize our boat. I placed the yellow tag notice on the table, then the expired registration photo, then a printout of the statute, highlighted like a prom dress. I secured your unattended vessel to protect my dock and your asset with law enforcement's blessing, while you ignored certified notices. The board's attorney, who looked like he'd had a long week, cleared his throat. Our position is that the lake is common. I slid the parcel map and my deed. Bottomlands adjacent to our lots belong to us to the center line. Anchoring equals occupying private land. You can pass over. You can't park. The lake patrol officer joined by speakerphone. I advise the HOA to remove the boat immediately or face the abandoned vessel process. It remains tagged. Do not move it without coordination. A quieter board member asked, almost gently, what do you want? 2 options, I said. Move it today and pay my modest storage bill, or leave it and let the process run. After the window, I'll have title or it'll be disposed per statute. Either way, it's not coming back to my cove. They went into executive session. Diane came out looking like someone had outlawed visors. The attorney said, we'll confer. They did not move it. Day 30. Paper wins the lake on day. 30, 2 envelopes arrived. One from the state. Notice of award of title release, vessel, listing me as the new owner after the HOA failed to cure the violation and pay storage. The second from the HOA, cease and desist, return our property. I walked to the dock with a coffee, patted the rail like a puzzled dog, and said, welcome home, I guess. I didn't need a houseboat. But the county search and rescue program did. I called their coordinator. "We'll take it for training if it's seaworthy," he said. It was. We coordinated with the patrol, removed the tag properly, and towed it, with permits, lights, and a very smug neighbor named Jerry filming from shore. The HOA watched from the ramp as their community boat headed to its new life as a training platform. Diane shouted, "You can't do that!" The officer, God bless bureaucracy, held up the title paperwork. "He can. The rules catch up." What followed was glorious, boring policy. The HOA reimbursed me for the storage days, retrieval gear, and one dock post repair, not because they suddenly loved me, but because their insurer told them to. The board adopted a boat policy drafted by an actual maritime attorney, registration required, proof of insurance, approved mooring plans, no anchoring, over private bottomlands without written permission, lights at night, no unattended vessels. They canceled movie nights and switched to shore nights, which is just movies on the grass and fewer lawsuits. Diane resigned from lake activities to spend more time with family, which I assume means new clipboards. A month later, the search and rescue team sent a photo of my former houseboat with safety railings, throw rings, and students practicing pulls. It looked like purpose. It looked like closure. Lessons. From a floating living room that moved out water on top ownership below. On private lakes, adjacent owners usually own the lake bed to the center line. Anchoring is occupying, which requires permission, lights, registration, insurance. A boat without these is a ticket magnet. A big boat without these is a lawsuit magnet. Abandoned, derelict laws exist on inland waters. If a vessel is left unattended in violation, your state likely has a process. Document, notify, wait, then either bill or title. Work with your lake. Patrol, don't cowboy it. Give a clean exit before you escalate. Offer the easy fix in writing. When they refuse, the paper trail grows teeth. Donate the win. Turning drama into a rescue platform felt better than movie night on my lawn ever would have. If you like stories where clipboards meet Coast Guard energy and lose, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me your wildest HOA boat story below. I'll bring the coffee. You bring the life jackets.